I want to note right here, you can kind of see in the back, we have Mark Zuckerberg. He's one of the many, we see Jeff Bezos there to the bottom right of your screen. And, you know, three of the world's richest people are in this room as we speak. Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg. The tech moguls are all seated together. You're going to kind of see more of a bird's eye view here as we begin to zoom out. But it's notable that they are sitting alongside Trump's family. They're sitting alongside cabinet nominees. And, you know, let's go ahead and, we're going to open up this panel so we can have a conversation. Peter Kuznick joining us with American University. So lovely to have you. Dr. Ravi Perry, political science professor with Howard University. So lovely to have you as well. Thank you both for joining us today.
Glad to be here.
Good to be here.
Yeah, I wanted to bring you right into this conversation.
Yes.
Mostly, I just wanted to get your impression of your sense of what you're watching unfold within the Capitol Rotunda, the people you're seeing walk in. I mean, there's so many names, the tech moguls, the cabinet members. What's your sense of this?
Well, I think it's a story about who's not there.
Sure.
You don't see everyday Americans around the Trump family like you often see at, say, the Union addresses, major American moments in history where the inauguration committee would insist that we have regular everyday people there. You don't see them here on these screens. You see billionaires, billionaire class. You also don't see Karen Pence. You don't see Michelle Obama. And if you drive around DC, as I just did on my way here, you don't see a lot of people in DC. It might be 10, 20,000 folks here, but it's nowhere near the hundreds of thousands. And it's not also quite as cold as people projected. It's 28 degrees in my car on the way here. So,
frigid, yeah.
So I think it's kind of interesting.
Just want to note here, you see the Clintons walking in, taking their seats. As we speak, again, greeting everyone as they walk into the room. I did want to just touch on this real quickly. You know, President Biden, former President Biden, now in his farewell address to the nation, warned that American democracy was sliding into an oligarchy of tech billionaires. And, you know, when you let that sink in and then you see who is here in the crowd, do either of you want to pick up on that or expand on that?
Well, we have been becoming an oligarchy and a plutocracy. And one of the words that was used in the 19th century that's been revived now is the word kakistocracy. That means a government by the worst people.
Right.
And if you look at Linda McMahon in charge of the Department of Education, I mean, you could go through the streets and try to find somebody less competent, and you might not be able to. I mean, if she's there to destroy the Department of Education, she's the right person for that, but certainly not to help educate our young people. And so it's certainly a problem. And these tech billionaires, in some ways, this reminds me of Andrew Johnson's administration.
Sure.
Because Andrew Johnson was a Southern Democrat from a working class background who hated the Confederate leaders and the rich plantation owners. And he made them come to Washington and grovel before him if they wanted to get their rights back. And in some ways, these guys are going down there and groveling toward Trump.
Well, you think, you know, when you think of yesterday's rally, so we saw, here comes Barack Obama entering into the rotunda again, notably absent his wife Michelle Obama, but he takes his place there with the former presidents and first ladies. I thought back to the rally yesterday, and you know, President-elect J.D. Vance was in the arena. He was there. He was scheduled to give a speech at the Capital One Arena, and instead we see Elon Musk and his son being featured handily. What was your take on that? What came to mind when you saw that?
Well, I think we talk about unprecedented access. One thing presidents can do is determine who has access to them. And this president has chosen to give people access to him who actually don't fit the MAGA movement demographics, who are typically poor, typically white, typically don't have college degrees, are in between jobs. The Steels have left West Virginia and Appalachia. These are folks who actually need these tech folks to give them jobs, to create educational opportunity for them in middle America, in places like Ohio, where I'm from. But you don't see that. You see instead that Trump is cozying up to the individuals that got him elected. Sure. Elon Musk, of course, putting out $250 million to ensure that the counting of votes in Pennsylvania and the machines, however, went his way. Now, we, of course, still don't know exactly what that $250 million went to, but Donald Trump credits him for that. And I think what you're seeing is Trump is someone who is a transactional guy. And so what he's doing now with these types of high dollar tickets, essentially, because of course he charges for everything, because he makes a profit out of everything. He has all kinds of conflicts of interest. They're trying to buy the DC Line Hotel. They're trying to get back into the Waldorf Astoria. And what we see here is that Elon Musk and them are being serenaded now because they, in fact, are the reason why Donald Trump is being inaugurated today.
I think some of those points are, quite poignant as well. And when you think back to compare and contrast, so back in 2017, Donald Trump was entering the presidency as a political unknown. Essentially, there was a massive women's march. We remember nearly 1 million people protesting the streets of D.C. That was massive. And that was before he had even served a day in office. Again, giving you a live view of the Capitol Rotunda here. And as we had just touched on a moment ago with Dr. Kuznick, President Trump opened his speech with this quote. It was, "This American carnage stops right here. It stops right now." And now here we are in 2025. We're going to see if the tone shifts. We're going to see what executive actions look like on day one. Will there be mass immigration raids?